Hey guys, welcome to ANX Gamecast, level 145. I'm Unbiased Ann, and I'm here with Genesis and Ray. How's it going, guys?
What up?
Going great.
Is it?
Yeah, I feel like it is.
Okay. Are you sure?
We're here. We're podding. I mean,
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to pod. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
There are worse things we could be doing right now.
And there might be worse things. I'm not going to spoil it, but
Oh man,
Uh-oh.
come on, man. I hope not.
it sounds pretty bad. But anyway,
Let's find out.
well, not yet. Not you hungry? You hungry?
Hungry, man. Hungry.
He's like, tell me.
Mm.
Okay. Well, what are y'all excited to talk about?
Ray?
I don't know. Everything today is kind of even kill,
Mhm.
right? Most things considered. I think what I'm most excited to do or try though is sitting right in front of us.
Okay, so you ready for the candy segment?
I think I'm ready for the candy segment.
Mm.
Look at this.
What you got?
I
Showed it.
guess I'm excited to talk about Madam Web only because, like, we saw it. It's been a while. So it's kind of like, let's go ahead and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm most excited. Yeah, I think I'm excited for the candy as well because Madam Web, blah, whatever. So anyway, with that being said, before we get into this little new segment here that I didn't make a screen for, but we're gonna do it anyway. Make sure y'all like, follow, subscribe. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if y'all watching this. Make sure you like and comment below. Comment whatever. There might be a question later, but we need.
Anything you got?
Need more comments.
Anything.
Just generally speaking. All right. So for the new segment, I was on the Bezos. I was on the Amazon, and I ran across an assorted pack. I can't remember. I think it might be 24 of Kit Kat. I think I was specifically looking for a Japanese version of Kit Kat that I saw somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and I found this assorted pack of 16 or 24. I can't remember, and it doesn't necessarily tell you what flavor it is. Some of the packets, because they're individually wrapped, they have little hints on them. Might have a strawberry on it or apple or some stuff like that.
Well, it tells you, but it's in Japanese.
Well, it tells you, yeah, but I can't necessarily read kanji. So
You
Yeah.
hope this is an apple.
right. So what I thought it'd be a good idea. Let's buy 3 packs of those and let's all try a random flavor on the pod.
Yep.
So this one has some clear hints.
It's upside down.
Of what it is, but and I
Same
don't
thing, but I love how this is a little bit different on the front.
Yeah, mine is too.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about an apple flavored Kit Kat,
Yep.
but let's find out.
Oh, we're doing it
Oh,
now?
we're gonna do it
Yeah.
now. Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
somebody wasn't paying attention in the pre-show meeting.
I am excited and scared at the same time.
Let's see.
Still looks chocolate. That's a good sign.
Okay, yeah,
Are we doing this all at the same time?
yeah.
Uh-oh. It feels like it's stale. It didn't crunch when I broke it. But
Oh no.
Smell it. Oh, this
Oh.
smells familiar. It smells like one of those random pieces of candy in the Valentine's thing that
Yeah,
nobody
like-
likes.
oh, great.
That's what it smells like.
I agree with you. Ready?
Y'all ready?
Okay, go.
1,
Two.
2.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
I'm kind of jealous, man. We don't get this here.
It's not
Oh, no, I don't like that.
Really?
it's not bad.
It actually tastes like an apple.
Well, what it is that first initial bite, you get the overwhelming apple
Yeah.
flavor, but you don't really taste the chocolate or the wafer, and then that kind of just comes later.
The chocolate and wafer is the aftertaste.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
No,
What's
I kind of
wrong-
like this.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know. It's like I just taste this I just taste this like citrusy apple taste, and it just feels confusing.
It's like it is like you bit into the middle of an apple, one that's already started, right? Like you've been going and you finally get hit with all that flavor. That's the first thing that hits, but then again, it's the aftertaste is chocolate and wafer for sure.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that at all.
All right. Well, with that being said, well, I mean, it wasn't horrible
No,
as far as like we
No, I didn't
think
just spit it out or anything.
yeah, we think there might be some very bad things in here.
I've specifically asked for a spit cup for the other
because
flavors.
like I I'm not really looking forward to a what was I saying earlier? Like maybe like a soy flavored one or kimchi flavored one or
Yeah,
Wasabi.
I'm not
flavored.
really looking forward to any of that.
Yeah.
All right.
But this one, I was still kind of paranoid on. Apparently, that paranoia still sits with Unbiased over here. But
Now this after effect is
yeah,
not good.
I'm starting to taste a little bit, but it's still not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I did not expect the apple flavor to be as intense.
And potent. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Seems like somebody just like cracked open like just an apple and just
Yeah.
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 Anyway, y'all ready for round one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Round 1.
All right, round one, and the anime that we are currently watching. So hold on. Having technical difficulties.
Man, nothing's better when that happens live.
Y'all talk about something real quick.
Still, you really didn't care for it too much?
No, it tasted like if somebody juiced an apple
Mm-hmm.
and then gave it to me in a cup, and then I like ate chocolate at the same time as I'm drinking this apple juice. That's what it tastes like to me.
Yeah, but ironically enough, it doesn't taste like apple juice.
No.
Like that's
not
really
true
weird.
apple juice.
Yeah, like an actual no flavor, no sugar added.
right. Like
apple
a
juice.
true. I mean, not like true apple juice,
Well, I think you
not in a bottled
Yeah.
apple juice.
Well, like you said, like they juiced the apple.
Yes.
And then
I just those two flavors are a little conflicting to me.
doesn't seem right.
No.
But it is better than what I thought. Like what Marcus was saying, where it was just going to be the Valentine Day
Reject.
random thon candy pull. You know.
Y'all keep talking.
I told him we were talking about the other day
Round 1.
because he ordered me these chocolates, and I was like, okay, I'm so glad they came with it tells you what each one is.
Thank you. I love
Because
this.
I have trauma from in the past biting into something,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not like things that are filled with something. I'm not a fan.
No.
I don't care if it's like a donut. Like, don't jelly fill that. I don't
Really?
want. Yes.
Not like an eclair or anything.
No, I don't want stuff. I don't like it. And even in candy. So one time I bit into this piece of chocolate, and it was like orange flavor in the middle. I was like, oh my God.
For those candy individuals or companies, let me rephrase that. For those candy companies that actually have the wherewithal to put the map
Yes.
of what you're about to, God bless them.
For real.
The other ones where it's I'm hoping for a 7 or an 11 and I get snake eyes first round.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that at all. So
All
this
right.
could have been worse.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on, so I'm gonna just go ahead and go first.
Oh, you gonna do a Vagabond Nerds move?
I guess because this slideshow was just not working today.
There we go, man.
Okay.
It was working earlier. Now it's not working. So I'm watching an anime called Zom 100. Have you heard of it?
Can I take a shot in the dark at what it's about?
Can I tell you the full name of the show, or you want to just go ahead and take a shot at it?
How should we do this? What do we want to do?
I don't know. It's up to you.
What's funnier?
Tell him the whole name.
Okay, the whole name is Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead.
Okay, so Zom 100 made it easy.
Wait, you're never going to guess what it's about. Never in a million years.
Doesn't that kid look like Midoriya?
I don't know. We're talking about a kid no one else can see. So
Oh.
Including myself.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm assuming it's someone who's a zombie who they're doing bucket list, or it's end of the world and they're fighting off zombies and they're just doing whatever they want to do on the way to kill zombies. That's the assumption.
I'm maybe 30% right.
All right.
Maybe.
So what's the other 70?
So the basic premise of the show, and you've seen what I've seen,
Yep.
so you tell me if I'm off here. Is that so? Guy right out of college, he gets a job. I think at like an ad agency or something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the most horrible job ever. And just to start off here, everything in this show is just like 10 times over the top.
All right.
Everything that happens is kind of like way overboard, right?
An
So-
anime was something overboard. How interesting.
No, everything though. Pretty much every single thing that it's like a normal thing that might happen, but then they blow it out of proportion every single time.
Yeah.
So this one is you get a job and they're working you to death, right? We've all probably had jobs where there's a lot of work.
Not like this though.
But his first day on the job, he goes in, he works, he meets everyone. They take him out to dinner and blah blah blah.
He's thinking, okay.
He's thinking, all right, I'm going home. I'll see y'all tomorrow. And then they all stand up. It's like, okay, time to get back to work. And his first day at the job, he literally stayed overnight, like 2 nights. He was there to like 2 or 3 days straight. So like over the top, right?
Hope it wasn't a desk job. Hope it was something like fire and rescue or something.
No, like an ad agency where I think he's putting together like the back end of like scripts and stuff and setting up, actors and whatever to do ads for.
They apparently
major
don't have
companies.
labor laws in this series.
Oh.
So he does this for 3 years straight, and at the end of that 3rd year, he's just like beat down. His apartment is a mess. He doesn't have any friends anymore. It's just bad, right?
And this is episode 1.
This is episode 1.
All right.
Now, he wakes up one day and there's a zombie apocalypse, right?
As we all hope one day.
And he's so happy he doesn't have to go back to work, right? He's going to go through a bucket list of things that he wish he could have done the previous 3 years. And he's calling this, I have 3 years of vacation saved up from my job, and I'm going to take it now that we have a zombie apocalypse. So he's going through a bucket list of things that he wanted to do over the past 3 years that he could not have. Some of it is very simple shit, like I'm just going to sit here all day, not work, and drink beer.
Yep.
And as far as like what you said earlier, bucket list on the way to kill the zombies, he doesn't
even do that.
He doesn't go through this world that he's in necessarily worried about the zombies.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I mean,
he doesn't care. It's not like, oh, I'm about to die, or I should save people, or what are we going to do?
Because that's what he's been doing for the past 3 years, is being a zombie.
Like he knows they're there, so he figures out ways to get around them.
Right.
So, but he's just like, whatever. I said I'm drinking beer today, so I'm drinking beer today. I'm gonna go get some beer.
Never wanted to watch a show more that we've covered than what you're talking about right now.
Now, let me say one good thing about the show. The graphics are probably some of the best graphics I've ever seen for a anime show.
Okay.
Not movies. Like we've seen some movies that just, I don't know how you kind of top that, right? Like Weathering with You and Your Name and stuff that, right? But as far as like a show, I don't know how many episodes there are or will be, but like this is really good graphics, right? It's really colorful, which is cool, but some of the zombie blood is random colors, so it's kind of strange to me. They have blood in the show; it's very clear red. I got hit in the head, and red stuff is coming out, but neon blue and neon pinks for blood for the different zombies. So it's really colorful. It's lighthearted, but to me, it's not funny.
No, it's not funny.
So it's not serious, like life or death serious. It's lighthearted, but not funny. So it's just like.
Do you think it's more of a dramedy built?
No, I think it's supposed to be funny, but it's not.
Who's airing this?
Well, every Crunchyroll airs everything now because of the Funimation.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
I mean, it hasn't officially finalized yet, but it's going to in the next week or two. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everything is on Crunchyroll.
All right, I'm gonna watch this, man.
Okay, Zom 100 bucket list of the dead.
All right.
So, what did you think of the couple of episodes you watched?
So
seems like something you would like.
Yeah, I mean, after the first 2, I was like, okay, we need one more, and that's usually what he does anyway. He always gives everything 3. So I was like, okay, let's watch a third one. But this third one, I don't know. I'm just like, this is just starting to. I don't know. Part of me wants to keep watching it because I want to see where it's going. I feel like I need a few more episodes, but part of me, I'm just like, why? Like his friend, so he finds his friend or whatever. He's got this friend, and he's showing all these pictures of like old times, and the guy's naked in every picture. Yeah, and so it's like,
and that's why I say like the over the top. Like it's like, oh, my buddy's funny, and he's funny because he's just standing here naked telling jokes.
Yeah, like totally naked, all these pictures, and I'm like, it's weird. And then at some point, without
I've never had any pictures or friends like that before. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then without spoilers, I'll just say there's another piece in this episode where there's some stuff going on, and somehow the guy ends up naked again in the most weird way, and it's like, and then they're just sitting around naked. Just like, I'm like, this is getting kind of weird.
I mean, you never had those moments in life where you just had to
Take off
part
all
with
your
your
clothes. No.
No, I never sat around butt naked with my friends, just chatting.
Yeah, no.
No, not even accidental.
No.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're adding a new bucket list to our friendship, aren't we?
I mean, I'm talking like socks off would be a stretch for me.
No, that would actually be the only thing I would keep on, probably.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I'm smarter than I thought I was. The slideshow doesn't work, but I found a way to populate the image quickly.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Because it's a cool
So
image.
now you can see like the graphics.
Yeah, the art's pretty decent on this.
Yeah, the graphics are dope. It's a lot of CG, but it's like that perfect CG anime blend where it's like you can't really tell that it's like you can tell it's CG, but it doesn't look like CG. Like it looks like an anime, and it's just like these graphics are dope. So, not my thing. I don't think I would watch it past the 3rd episode. I gave it 3. I don't think I would. Now, if there's only 12, then I might do it. But if this was 24, 34 episodes, like, nah, I wouldn't watch this anymore.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
Yep.
It's interesting. I'm going to check it out.
All right, let me see. Let me see if this works. Who's next? Hey.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Evangelion.
Okay, so
Okay.
this show's getting good.
Uh-oh.
You said you've seen this show, right?
Been a while.
Okay, been a while. So we're kind of nearing into I'd say we just finished probably 2/3 of it. Because there's either 26 episodes.
Yeah, or maybe 3/4 of it.
Or 3/4. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
75
we're not at the end yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
And I would say after we hit the halfway mark or whatever you want to call it, it started getting good to me. We are at the point now where I'll say that there's been some traumatic things that have happened in the past couple of episodes. Tenji kind of got stuck. Shinji. I know that. I don't know why I said that. Shinji got stuck, the main kid.
So we're talking coming on the back end of arc 2, coming into the 3rd arc climax, so to speak, then. Am I right on that?
That would be you to tell me.
Sure. I think we're like right in the beginning of the 3rd act.
Of the 3rd act? Okay.
Because so far, the 5 or 6 episodes before this, it's just been like, okay, we're in a rhythm. We know all the characters and we know what they do and they're doing the thing.
Yep.
Right. And then all of a sudden we hit this last episode where something very strange happened.
Yeah.
So it's like we're getting into they kind of teased that there's something else going on here. They kind of showed that there's something in the basement. And then now it's like, okay, we're starting to actually go through that storyline.
Yeah. So I'll just mention a few things that have happened that I think are big. It kind of kicked off to me, I think, when Shinji ended up in this kind of random place. We didn't know where he was. He just like disappeared, and he was like he ended up being in this big old bubble. But it was kind of like, what's going to happen here? Because they could not figure out how to get him out. I think another big thing happened where they added a 4th student, I guess you want to call it, child. And there was very dramatic scene where I guess the Ava or whatever kind of went crazy, and he was supposed to like kill it, but of course he's like, but I know there's somebody in there. He didn't know who was in there, but he knew there was somebody in there.
Yeah, so they invented the dummy plug, where it's just like, we don't have to have a pilot here. We could just put the plug in and it kind of does whatever we want it to do, right? So Shinji was still in there though. So it started to rip apart one of the new Avas and tried to kill the pilot that was in it.
Right. And then I think the last big thing is, so after that, Shinji was like, I'm done with y'all, because this was crazy, very traumatized, I think. What? But he ended up going back, and now, it was another big, huge, crazy scene where I don't even know if Ray is alive at this point, one of the girls. Like, I don't know. So there's...
Yeah, I mean, where we at in this? 19 minutes in? I mean, all of the Ava just got fucked up by this one angel.
Yeah.
Right. And they were basically trying everything. This is another one of those situations where Shinji ran off, I'm gonna quit, I don't want to do this no more, and then he came back, right?
Yeah.
And then Ava Unit 1 started to eat the angel. So that's where we're at. So that's a big turn and change of events from the status quo from the previous all the previous episodes.
Yep.
So yeah, so I think we're right in the beginning of the third and final act of the show.
Yeah. So I'm liking it now.
You
It
are?
took me a while, but it's getting good. I would rewatch this. I'm just gonna say now.
Uh-oh.
I would rewatch this because I feel like there's so much that I missed. Like, generally speaking, you always see more when you watch anything over again.
Right.
But this in particular, I feel like I was very confused for a while. For whatever reason. I don't know. Anime is kind of over my head. So it takes me a little while to like get it. I would rewatch this. I already know. Just to catch
it's
more.
definitely one of the more rewatchable animes because there is so much dialogue. There is so many things that you kind of miss. There are so many things that are talked about or referenced that you don't learn about until 15 episodes later, and then you kind of forgot that you even heard about it.
Right.
Right. Like, for example, the school teacher is every time they're in school and the teacher is talking, he might not be the focal point. There might be a conversation going on here, but he's talking in the background and he's telling you everything about the first impact and the second impact.
Yeah.
Even though the show hasn't really shown you anything from that. They reference it, but they don't show it.
Right.
Later on, when they might show some stuff from that, right?
You're like, oh.
That's what he was talking about. But you don't remember anything he said because
You're focused on the
conversation
Yeah.
between the characters. And I think this is and I'll bring this up on the show. Alita, this is what I said to you earlier. Alita Battle Angel.
The movie or the
movie.
anime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Battle Angel Alita for the anime.
Robert Rodriguez joint.
When we reviewed it, I said this was too much too soon. I don't think your average person is ready for this level of kind of weirdness from an anime title, right? I think Neon Genesis, why an average person could possibly watch this and not be weirded out, even though you have these big mech battles, you have these monsters eating other monsters, and that's very weird. While that's happening, all the humans in the show are also reacting the same way a normal person would react in real life. Like, that's gross, that's disgusting, that's weird, that's crazy. What is happening?
It's almost like eating an apple flavored Kit Kat.
Exactly.
So that's why there's definitely a humanizing effect to the people in the show. The people in the show are not running around acting like this is just normal. They also think this is kind of crazy. So there's something for a normal, non-anime person to relate to.
I got to go back, man. What did you guys rate Battle Angel?
I don't even remember.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
I could have done with a better not final battle scene, but main battle scene than the whole roller ring thing. I could have done.
Are you rewriting an ending?
No, it just wasn't good. Like,
you think it could have been better?
They could have just left it out.
And you think you could have maybe thought of something better that they could have done?
No, they could have just left it out.
Okay.
I mean, it was just bad.
I'm just trying to say, maybe I'm rubbing off on you. I don't know.
No, it was just like that part there. Like, everything else was kind of like, okay, this is, some of the interaction between the kids are kind of cheesy and whatever. But that particular part, I was like, that's when the movie just kind of lost me completely, where I was like, I don't like this.
Speaking of things that suck, I can't wait to get to round 3.
Ooh,
cool.
Oh, okay.
Little foreshadowing.
What about, let's finish round 1.
Let's finish round 1.
So let me see, how do I have to do this? Because it's all raggedy and not working right. Oh, what is this? Okay, I see a lot of blood.
We are on to the Hashira training arc for Demon Slayer.
So I got one question before we get started. I thought Demon Slayer was over or something. Over for good. No, it was just over. Because here's the thing that's happening with anime a lot. If an anime goes on hiatus, like Dragon Ball Super did, right? Bleach did. People say it's over. And it's not over. A hiatus doesn't mean something is ended. It just means it's over for now.
It's paused.
But people talk about it like it's actually over. So the random things I've heard about Demon Slayer was like that it's over. And then I'm like, how do you have something called training? If he's still training, it's not over. right? If something is called something training or something training arc, it's not over because you're still training. Meaning you haven't got to the final potential, right? You haven't gotten to your this isn't even my final form, right?
Well, and to be fair, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Like this is the beginning of his next form.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to say that him as a demon slayer is over, you can say that. But now as the Hashira training arc starts, being the badass of the demon slayers, these are the demon slayers that demons actually they don't want any part of because they know they can just absolutely jack them up. And so to that point, there was a scene here, I was talking to my son about it, and he was stating that there is a whole opening scene which was done very well. Like we were watching this in the theater and I was very surprised by it. But it's an attack on a castle, and the animation, to your point, with a cross of traditional animation and then CGI,
Mm-hmm.
extremely done well. And this whole scene here, like even my son was into, he's like, "Oh crap, this is not in the book, Dad." And I was like, "Awesome!" And it played out fantastic. It was done expertly well. It almost sticks out from the other portions of this show. Now, as we've talked about in the past, right, with Demon Slayer, like I know you didn't get into it because it then got into the hokiness of it.
Yeah.
And that hokiness is still there a little bit, but as what I'm seeing is as each arc, continues, we're seeing less and less of that hokiness going through. And so right now, I was actually really involved, and my son's now to the point where he can't watch this with an English dub, like we were talking about this, and it's not a slam against the performers who act this out and
because that's messed up because we met one and now we're close personal friends with, I don't even remember what her name is,
right.
But we just met one of the English voice actors a couple of weekends ago.
And I don't think people truly understand how difficult voice acting is.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will never slam a voice actor, but definitely we appreciate the traditional actors, the voice actors on this, and so now we're completely watching it subbed as opposed to dubbed. And the only thing I don't like about when Demon Slayer does a movie, half of that movie is covering the back half of that last arc that we've already seen.
Oh yeah.
And then then you get an episode and a half of the next arc. So I'm not a huge fan of that because I'm like, dude, just like let me watch the new, like start with the new. If you
so that they're taking episodes that might have been they all have filler most animes have a filler episode that shows you all the stuff that happened so far.
Yeah.
Right. Even we just went through it with Evangelion, but it was only half an episode. They took half an episode. Usually it's a whole episode.
Yeah.
Right. So they're taking that, putting that in the beginning, maybe expanding it a little bit because you already got art and graphics and animation for it. You're just copying and pasting at that point, right? Because you're telling us that they're not redrawing this for the movie. And then I don't like that. I don't like that either. I've been seeing that a lot too.
It's if you've got a 90-minute movie, and I think this one actually was maybe an hour and 45. Right, instead of an hour and a half. But if you have an hour and a half, 90-minute movie, you're guaranteed 45 minutes prior, which you've already seen, and then 45 minutes new. Now, I will say that there is stuff I missed or I forgotten about that it was kind of helpful, but then overall, it's like, I know how part's going to end. I want to see the next part already. And like I said, how they started that next arc it has been probably the strongest start I've seen on any Demon Slayer stuff. I mean, it was pretty good. And, again, you suffer through a little bit of that silliness and that hokiness.
Yeah.
But I actually was pleasantly surprised and I enjoyed it. I was pretty happy. So I'm interested to see where this goes. We're now starting to really get into what it means to be a Hashira as opposed to just a Demon Slayer. So I'm trying to do this spoiler free as I can. And we've got one of the main Hashira is already backing out. If you've got, I think it's 7 total, they're down to 6 because one's like, hey, I don't have time for all this training crap or whatever, even though they're like, we got to train up because we know that battle's coming.
Right.
So
Got to be prepared.
Yeah. And he's absolutely taking a stance on like, I don't really care about that one way or the other. So
we need to stop wasting content. We do a lot of wasting of content. Like there are things that happen, things that we do that would be great for a podcast to talk about, but we just don't do it because whatever reason, lots of different reasons. But we went to Dallas. What was it called? Collecticon.
Oh yeah, Collecticon.
Yeah, and then we have 2 Nezuko Funko Pops. One is in a 4-pack, so I'm excited to get that whole thing signed. But then one was just her by herself by the English voice actor. Yeah, do it. You saw I took another bite. Abby Trott. She was cool. She was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Gave the fist bump. How can I put this? I don't want to act like this is just a transactional thing, but she gave us a free quote.
Oh yeah.
And I say free. I don't know if she was given a free quote or she just gives quotes for free. But other voice actors charge if you want 2 different colors, marker.
And not just voice actors. Most anytime you're getting a signature at a convention, yeah,
which I don't even understand that. That doesn't even make sense to me. Why I have to pay more just for you to use 2 different colors? They charge you more for a quote.
Yep.
She did the quote, the signature, and the character's name all in different colors for a lower price than most voice actors.
Well, remember that one guy?
Uh-oh.
That actor bored her.
Ooh.
Whoever that one guy was.
Remember that one guy who charged like the cost only covered 5 words or something?
Yeah, we went to one person and it was like they were like, we can give you 5 words for free. Anything more than that is extra. You got to pay the $10 fee or whatever it is.
Which was totally planned because the most famous quote is like 6 words.
So she's giving me the she's giving me the quote, and I'm like, that's not the quote though. Like, I appreciate that you would do that for free, but that is not the quote. And then I gave her the whole quote. She said, well, this is 6 words, so I got to charge you the $10.
I think that was totally
And I was
planned.
just like, whatever. I'm like, just so you know, lady, that is not the quote. It was from Cowboy Bebop. I'm like, that is not the quote.
Right.
So whatever. So anyway, that's why she's cool. And not only was she cool and she did all that stuff, right? It looked dope.
I've seen it. I like it.
Yeah, some of these people got bad handwriting, and it's like, to me, if you got bad handwriting, I know you're trying to make money, but don't offer up people quotes if you got horrible handwriting. Like,
we can't even read what you
can't
wrote.
even read. It's just sloppy. You just wrote all over the pop, and it just whatever. Still has value, but it's just like it looks bad. So shout out to Abby Trott. Like, if she's somewhere, it's worth it to go to her booth and get your stuff signed by her. It is 100% worth it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yep.
I know I'm sending stuff with you. Hopefully
you should just come.
Maybe I might.
Just come with us everywhere we go.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm keeping my socks on.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
Just letting you know.
All right, y'all ready for round 2?
Round
Yes.
2.
Round 2.
Okay. So
Can I read this?
Wait, nope, not yet. So there's actually a quote that I wanted to put on here, but I didn't. So I texted you and I told you, should we talk about Toriyama or the Dakota Johnson quotes?
And I said,
And you said
both.
So we are going to go ahead and start with the Dakota Johnson. I didn't think about this beforehand, but let's try to get through these comments of hers spoiler free. I think it should be fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
Quote man.
I will probably never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world. Dakota Johnson. So I want to say 2 things. One, that still wasn't my favorite quote from her. That's one of them.
It not my favorite quote, but it was.
Yeah.
It's the most as far as a conversation piece.
Yeah.
The fact that you're already saying the movie's still in the theaters and you're saying you're never going to do anything like it again.
She's been bashing her own movie since day one. She said that she signed on for one script, and this turned into something completely else. And we'll leave it at that for right now.
Okay.
She made mention in one of the interviews that she said, she goes, yes, my prior agent had gotten me this role. And you'll notice I said my prior agent. I have a new agent now. Like, she's definitely made her feeling known. What I don't understand about this is I don't make sense in that world. But you make sense
I don't
in
even,
50 Shades of Grey.
I don't even know what that means.
Like, it's she's talking specifically. And I don't think it's about this movie. She's talking specifically
talking
on the
about
comic book
superhero
genre.
movies.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah.
Which, like, what do you mean? Like, there's so many different roles in these movies. You don't have to be a flying around laser beams coming out of your eyes to have a role in one of these movies or a place, right? So that didn't even make sense. I don't even. What did Thanos say? I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, once I started Googling you, oh, you were 50 Shades of Grey girl. Okay, so you're
It's nice to know that her world is kink. That's,
right. So it's just like you're known for just being naked on screen all day.
She doesn't keep her socks on.
So definitely in that particular situation, then no, you don't belong here. Yeah. If that's all you can do.
Well, unless it was Lady Death, and that may be close.
So I didn't really love this comment because I never saw 50 Shades of Grey, but I knew of her and I knew she was in those movies.
I don't even know who you are.
Right. And I know she's got famous parents, right? Like,
who's your parents?
Melanie
Griffin
and Don Johnson.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I knew of her, but I'd never seen a movie with her, never seen anything.
Yeah.
But I will say this and save it for the review, but I don't agree that she doesn't belong in this world.
Okay.
Teaser. Yeah.
So the thing that I'm getting taken away from most of her quotes is that you seemingly keep blaming other people.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, it was your decision to make this movie. I don't care who got it for you. It was your decision to be in this movie. And what I think probably happened is superhero movie. Cool. Oh, Spider-Man universe. Cool. Like, we're going to make $1 billion without actually taking the time to, like, did you see what happened with Morbius?
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say it for round 3, but I'll talk about it.
Regardless of the success that it had, did you objectively sit down and watch the first 2 Venoms, Dakota? Did you? Because they weren't great movies.
Yeah.
They were not great movies. So what did you think?
Yeah.
What did you think you were getting into? Do you think you were getting into No Way Home?
Don't forget that the one who played Spider-Woman, the one with the black and white costume, he literally had a quote in her press junket that said, "I am so happy I finally made it into the MCU." I'm like, ooh, sweetie, no, you didn't. Like, this is not the MCU. This is the MCU adjacent.
It's specifically not the MCU.
Yeah.
Based off of what we saw with Venom at the end of one of those random movies.
Yeah. Morbius.
No.
Or what? No.
Because I haven't seen Morbius. Yeah. I think it might have been at the end of, was it one of the end credits of No Way Home?
Could have been No Way Home.
When he like woke up and it was.
Yeah.
When they turned on the news.
That was Far From Home. It was the end of Far From Home. No, that was the end of Venom 2.
Well, regardless, there was some movie that came out recently where it made it very clear that Venom was not MCU character.
Correct.
Now, there's another thing she said. Can you scroll down on your page?
Oh, we're going to
the bottom.
Another one.
Because she did say right here, she alluded to.
So 1 second. So what we're reading here is a Rolling Stone article that took clips from Bustle.
Yeah,
Bustle interview that she did. We would have used the Bustle interview, but 90% of it had nothing to do with Madam Web. So it was like, whatever.
I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
We'll just take the clips from Rolling Stone. Okay, go ahead.
So I also want to mention a couple things that she added, and again, it's just her coming from her. We don't know for sure if it's true or not. She alluded to, it seemed like it was presented as one way, and then things changed.
Yep.
And she did add on here. Films are made by a filmmaker and a team of artists around them. You cannot make art based on numbers and algorithms. My feeling has been for a long time that audiences are extremely smart, and executives have started to believe that they're not. Audiences will always be able to sniff out bullshit.
Yeah.
So
she's not wrong.
Right, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong, but you were a part of the bullshit.
Right, but
it depends on who you believe. It depends on her contract. I really wish that actors would start. And I don't know. Like, no clue, right? I'm 100% away from this. But if it's me, I would make sure that in my contract, I would have a stipulation that says if the script changes more than 60 or 75% from what was originally done, I have the right to back out and still collect my pay.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Or hell,
Right.
just back out.
Because that's
Or
what
just
she
back out.
said.
Because 9 times out of 10, that
Yeah.
script is going to change before they start filming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you haven't really invested that much time. Now you may have lost work
Yeah.
because you booked that time during the year. From March to May, I'm unavailable.
But you
Right.
headline that movie. I don't think you're making peanuts when you're a headliner.
Right.
So,
Yeah. But
which
yeah,
means that she finished out this movie because she was like, damn, this is a nice check.
probably. But yeah, there was another quote in here somewhere where she alluded to, things being changed. She was like, wait, what? Like, what's happening? So
Yeah, decisions are being made by committees, and it does not do well when it's made by a committee, like a movie made by a committee versus, whatever, directors, producers, whatever, along with actors.
I'll say it for you. Kind of like DC. Movies made by producers. Movies made in the editing rooms. It happens. Happened to Ayer. Happened to Snyder.
Yeah.
Looks like it happened to James. Whatchamacallit? James Wan, whatever, from Aquaman 2.
But my problem with this is, did you not see these yellow or red flags with the previous movies that Sony put out?
Yeah. Money.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money.
So my thing is, I don't want to hear it at this
Yeah.
point in the game. It's especially, I definitely don't want it now. If you would have been saying this even before the movie came out, which maybe in the contract, maybe you couldn't.
Yeah.
But you can't go out and bash the movie before it comes out. I don't know. But if you would have been saying this kind of stuff beforehand, if there would have been rumblings coming out that she wanted to quit the movie because it's bad, stuff we're hearing about Blade-ish, right? That certain actors might want to back out because the script is not whatever. Then okay. But after the movie comes out, after it bombs, after it tanks, after the reviews, now you want to say this. It's just like, man, get out of here.
It comes off as pointing fingers, and really.
Right.
If you already did it and if people don't bring it up, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I haven't listened to the full review, so I could be speaking out of term, but why don't you stick with, had some fun with the actors and, my people that were on the, in front of the camera, behind the camera. We had a good time. I hope it shows through, even though in the back of your head, you're knowing this is absolutely BS. Sounds like it was one drunk interview and it just spiraled, or one drunk day and you're doing a press junket where
I don't know,
20 some odd, interviews are going
she was
on.
rolling around in the grass with goats or something.
Yeah. No, I mean,
so maybe she was drunk.
she's just mad. She's upset.
yeah, but what are you going to do? Like, if it's already out, it's already done. If you already collected your paycheck, I may not be thrilled to be doing interviews or whatever, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to be like, yeah, this was shit.
Well, what? But here's my thing. Venom. There will be a Spider-Man, and we already know all the Spider-Man have a connection now.
Mm-hmm.
One day you will probably get a movie where you're in it with Venom, and you're in it with Andrew Garfield, and possibly other Spider-Man, because
who knows?
So for you to come out and say I'll probably never do anything like it again, is that vague enough, or are you really trying to say I'm never doing another Madam Web movie? Because that just based on the surface, that's what it sounds like. But is it vague enough to where you still leave your door open? It's like, I said that, but this is a whole new team of people and blah blah blah, so I'm giving it a second shot. Is it vague enough for her to come back and do a Madam Web 2 or some sort of Spider Universe movie that includes all these different pieces that they're trying to put together?
I think the answer for that probably lies in round 3 as we talk about the movie. But certainly the stance on how much money it made, how bad it did domestically and foreign, for Sony producers to already come out saying there's really not going to be a potential for another Madam Web follow-up, I think speaks volumes to whether or not she herself comes back. Could any of the actresses in this other than her come back? Sure. Is there a place?
I mean, I feel like Spider-Woman is a bigger character than Madam Web anyway.
Yeah, and Madam Web's always been a secondary character. Sometimes you get away with having a secondary character being able to pop. Look at Daredevil. Right? Look at ostensibly what started with Miles Morales Spider-Man and how that took off. Some of these characters do just in their own right become what they are. In the books, this has never been a strong character. She's never really carried her own title. Miniseries, sure, a couple of them, but as far as her own book, like it just wasn't there because she is a good secondary character. So have her in something else. But seeing a franchise built around Madam Web, I don't think was ever a real possibility, or maybe it was a pipe dream of one of the producers. As we know, I think it was a first-time producer, definitely first-time director. You had a lot of first in here. The script was written by 6 different writers when all was said and done.
Mm-hmm.
So
one last thing I will say is that someone else more recently came out and said something similar about the Eternals.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want to butcher his name.
It's probably not this guy.
Oh, Kumail.
How you pronounce
Was it Kumail?
Kumail.
Yeah. So basic, but it was more or less he believed in the film so much, and when it didn't do as well, still way more successful than Madam Web, right? These are not in the same category. But when it didn't do as well as he thought it would be, he felt a certain way about it, like it was more of a reality check. But I'm going to say the same thing about him that I said about her. When you look at this on paper, and you seemingly have a female lead. Same thing here. I would say the same thing here. Another thing, it was a female lead in a superhero movie. It wasn't going to do great anyway. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. It wasn't going to do great anyway. So you look at Eternals. You got brown people in it. You got gay black men in it. You got all these minority groups as the lead in this movie. What did you actually think it was going to do well?
I'll wait until we get to round 3.
So, but there is an Eternals 2 coming out, so they could, I don't know, fix. Even though I don't think there's a lot to fix there, but they can fix whatever people didn't like about it. But I'll say the same thing to him. Like when you saw that script, when you saw who was going to be in the movie, if you just look at it on paper, like, cool, yeah, it looks like it should be a great movie, right? But if you look at how audiences are reacting to minority characters and minority leads, what did you think was going to happen? I'll just put it that way. So that's
well. But do you think it has anything to do with the fact that, and I could be wrong on this, but nobody knows what the Eternals is. Most people.
No. I mean, because I don't think a lot of people knew what Ant-Man was. A lot of people, there's a bunch of stuff that has come out that people didn't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was. So I don't really think it's that. But
people during that time, though, anything that Marvel did was just fire.
Not quite at the Eternals.
Just about, though. Like that was a lot of trust that you could sit there and wave some of those thought processes. I'm not saying all.
Sure.
I'm not saying all.
I'm not saying it was the wrong decision. I'm just saying like I don't think it was that.
I don't think this. Well, when we get to round 3, I'll say what I say.
Okay.
Anything else on her quotes?
No.
Let me see if my stuff works here. Yes. Okay. Great. All right. Quote man.
I know it's not the right thing to do, but please grant me my selfish request. I don't even want to say it's Gogu. I want to say it's, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher his name, and I feel so bad about that.
Butcher what name? The name's right on the screen.
No.
He doesn't want to say Goku.
I want to say the creator, and I'll butcher his name, so I'm not even going to go there.
Toriyama.
Thank you.
No, that's a Goku quote.
But the point being, though, is we lost a great one. I don't care whether you like Dragon Ball Z or whether you're the biggest fan. No one can deny what Dragon Ball Z meant to the community at large.
And still today.
And whether you know it through the anime, whether you know it through card collecting, whether you know it through video games, you've touched this arena at one point or another in your life, even if you didn't realize it.
Even if you watch the Macy's Day Parade?
Even if you watch the Macy's Day Parade.
At a certain point, there's a level of age group, right? A specific age group that if you enjoyed any anime after a certain year, you owe it all to Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. So if it was not for those two, You would not be watching Demon Slayer today.
To our off-air conversation that we had, WB morning,
WB
morning, WB 33 morning highlight.
Pokemon.
This and Pokemon.
I don't remember Dragon Ball being on there.
I remember it towards the end of the Saturday morning.
But you also had kids. So
I did.
So what I mean
well, not
is,
that bad. They're not that old. My kids are not old enough to have been at the beginning of this.
No, but they could have been at the end of WB kids morning cartoons kind of stuff.
Maybe my daughter.
You see what I'm saying?
Maybe my daughter. Yeah.
So I don't know what they were playing. So just to be fair, when I was introduced to this, it wasn't on there. So but anyway,
remind me, this had a was it Game Boy or Game Boy Advance video game?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been putting out games because you got to remember, whenever Dragon Ball Z got popular over here, it was already done and over in Japan.
Yep.
And it had been around since
like the 80s or something, right?
Yeah, since the 80s with Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball Z started in the 80s.
87?
And then, so they had games and they had Super Nintendo games. They had all kind of stuff.
Two things on him. One, we lost a legend, for sure.
Sure.
Two, surprised but really happy the family did what they did to keep it private, and no one knew about this. And they said they wanted it family. They didn't want to have the big deal that they felt it could, or really in reality
it would
have been.
Yeah, it would have been kind of crazy over there.
They did not announce this until after his funeral with his family, which I thought that's really respectful for those who knew him personally and cared and loved him. So
I'm glad you said that, because that's a segue into really why I put this quote up there. But what, you have anything before I go off? Because I think my take is going to probably rub some people the wrong way. So
I had a couple things.
Okay. All right.
One thing I was going to point out, you already said that basically if Dragon Ball had never existed, then we would not have like Naruto and One Piece and like all the stuff we have today.
Yeah, no way.
Another thing that I was reading, somebody made a comment about is he's directly talking about Toriyama. He's directly inspired what we expect role-playing games to look like today. I want to see what you thought about that.
Role-playing games. Well, he did a lot of the art for Dragon Quest. If you go play the Dragon Quest games, they all look like Dragon Ball Z characters. You got characters that look like Goku with red hair because his art style is his art style, right?
Yeah.
You can only make so many different looking characters, but then some people start blending together.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't.
Looking at you, Jim Lee.
I don't know if I agree with that 100% because at least over here, in America, Dragon Quest is not one of the top RPGs, right? You're gonna start with Final Fantasy before you get to Dragon Quest. But generally speaking,
time out.
Huge impact.
Side quote here or side request. Are you playing the new Final Fantasy?
Not yet, because I had never finished the first one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because of the pod. So I finally finished the first one. I'm halfway through the DLC now.
Gotcha.
With Yuffie, and then but I do have it. So
all right. Back to our normal show.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to mention that was said here is we certainly wouldn't have had America's largest distributor at the time, Funimation. The entire fandom landscape would look different without this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Xbox with Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anything, whatever you think about Xbox right now, doesn't matter, good, bad, or whatever it looks like, whatever your experiences have been with Xbox, right? If it wasn't for Halo, there would be none of that. Mm-hmm. And it's the same. It's the same thing here with Dragon Ball Z. But
in case those of you who are listening who hate our take on the Xbox, right there, listen to that.
Yeah. Props.
I will just say this one last thing before you go is that I had heard of Dragon Ball Z because my younger brother was into anime in the late 90s and I didn't know what he was talking about. I was just like, he was into Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. And it wasn't until we met that he it got me into Dragon Ball Z. And I remember we went to the movie that came out in 2013. And I always, until now, I think I've learned my lesson, but I have consistently underestimated the fandom of Dragon Ball Z. When we were getting ready to go to that movie, I remember I was like, it's not going to be crowded. I mean, and we get there.
I think this was before assigned seating.
It was.
Well, you could get assigned seating certain places, but you can get it everywhere now. But at the time, this was before assigned seating.
So you had to show up to get it. But it was bananas here at our local theater. And I was like, and then where it really hit home was we went to a convention.
Well, but even before that, before we even got in, there were multiple people outside of the theater trying to buy my tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Multiple people just standing out there trying to buy the tickets because they did not get a ticket. This was Resurrection F, I think. It was the first time where Dragon Ball came back in 13 years or whatever it was with a new movie. Started off with a new movie. So, underestimated big time.
And I think American audiences really do underestimate it. I mean, when we went to go see Demon Slayer, we went to an early showing because couldn't go to a later showing. It was packed at a 2:30 in the afternoon showing. It had its audience and some people in full gear. Yeah. So I was, I just remember kind of thinking, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like,
I guess this one was so big also because I didn't realize, I don't think I understood. You probably told me, but I don't think I fully understood that this is the first thing that's been out in 13 years. And it was still that many people. Yeah. And then where I really, really got just kind of punched in the face with shock is we went to a convention last year, I think. And he was telling me like, we need to get there early because both Chris Sabat, who does Vegeta, and Sean Schimmel, who does Goku, were going to be there. And I was like, it's going to be fine. No, it was insane. It was insane. The lines for these people. Now, Chris Sabat also does he does Full Metal. He does My Hero. He's All Might in My Hero. Yeah. So his line is really, really long, but people will stand there for hours. I stood there for 4 hours.
And you were in the third row.
And I was in the third row.
She was in the third row and still stood there 4 hours before.
Which means he took probably at least for sure one break during that where you had to just stand and wait.
No, the thing is, I was in a regular and there was a VIP.
He also got there a little late.
He did get there a little late, but oh my God, it was insane. But anyway, all I'm saying is that
this was after the weekend before, or maybe 2 weekends before, they were at another convention and we could not get to him. They kept kicking us out of line. Yeah. The line was so long, we went multiple times and they kept kicking us out.
That's the one I was talking about where we didn't get there early enough because I was like, it'll be fine. And no, the lines were insane. Yeah. We went to another one, like you just said, the next weekend or weekend after, whatever. And it was bananas there too, but I still stood in line for 4 hours. But anyway, my point being that, yes, Dragon Ball Super recently was out, but Dragon Ball Z has not been out. That came out so long ago, and people are still just hyper obsessed with this show. It has such a huge impact that I never even understood.
Because and this would be a good something for the comment section. But one of our first not arguments, but debate about this kind of thing was like, you were into Gilmore Girls, you were into Friends, and I'm like, no, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. As far as like the fandom and the amount of fans, like
100%.
Oh yeah,
and I was
100%.
Like, and I was like, no, Dragon Ball Z. She was like, what? No, nobody watches that. I'm like, okay.
Supernatural and The Walking Dead have fandoms and conventions, but it's nothing like what because there was really nothing like that here. And so when even something small like that you would think a signing may not be a big deal. It's like, no, you don't understand because it happens so rare. Those are always going to have much, much bigger fandoms than what I think the average person realizes. And you're no longer an average person with that. Like, you understand this now.
You get it now.
But like even
like you smelt the stinky people in line. This is the only time they get out of the house once a year.
Yes, these are not like scalpers either. These are, you can tell by the way they look.
Well, some of them are.
But
most of them are not scalpers.
Yeah.
But I will say that if you're going to convention, folks, anytime this year at all, deodorant, spray deodorant,
take a shower.
Spritz up.
You don't even have to shave. You don't have to shave.
Yeah. I don't.
Just brush your teeth.
Take a shower. And
put some deodorant
wear
on.
some motherfucking deodorant.
And some clean clothes.
Clean. Thank you. And do not go to convention for 4 days and take one change of clothes. No. sweetheart, you need at least 3 days worth.
No.
Yeah, that's always been fun because there's nothing better when you're at a convention rummaging through stuff and someone walks by you with your face at ass level because you're rummaging through the bottom portions.
Yeah.
And you just catch a whiff.
It's happened a couple times.
It's so bad. It is so bad.
It's happened a couple times.
Okay. So let me get to the reason I put this, because I don't like to come on the pod and be phony. I think generally speaking, I'm never phony on the pod. If I'm phony, it's just me holding back. We saw an episode of Joe Budden podcast where he told all his co-hosts to shut the F up and let him talk. Like, sometimes I want to say that, but I never do that. I don't talk to y'all like that, right?
Normally, we get into our disagreements, but I don't think we've ever pushed that on.
Yeah, I'm not calling names, and I'm not using vulgar. So anytime I'm being phony, it's because I might want to say that, but I don't say that. Yeah, so that's the only time I'm being phony.
But you're not really phony at all,
right? Yeah. So generally speaking, no, I'm not phony. So I don't want to be phony in this case. Okay. My first thought, and a lot of people will be like, "Well, that's heartless. That's why are you." The dude just died, right? Mm-hmm. My first thought was, well, what's going to happen with the Dragon Ball shows that have already been announced?
Yeah.
And the only reason, so if Dragon Ball GT never happened, if things like the Garlic Jr. saga never happened, I probably would not have this thought. But we've already lived in a Dragon Ball world where Toriyama did not exist.
And it wasn't good.
And companies, like Dakota Johnson said, were the ones doing the creative.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't involved.
I don't think,
it wasn't great. It was bad, right?
I don't think that's heartless.
Well, I can see how somebody might take it that way.
I said the same thing when Heath Ledger passed. I was like, crap, what are they doing for The Dark Knight 3 at the time?
Right.
Because you're a fan.
Yeah, and I think real fans, it's that love of their work so much that it is a question, and it's a valid question. What are they going to do?
Well, but what I'm seeing online is so much of the somber, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
Are you sad?
R.I.P. No, I'm not sad.
I'm respectful.
I'm respectful, but I'm not sad, and the reason I'm not sad is because I don't have a direct connection with him.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him. I could Google it probably, but it's not like he is somebody that's on our TV screen or has ever been on our TV screen.
Yeah.
Like, it's the connection is not there. I'm grateful that he created this, that created everything, right? Yeah. To a certain extent, right? There was anime before, but we just talked about it, right? Everything after Dragon Ball Z blew everything up over here, right? I'm grateful because I am a gamer, not quite otaku, but I'm closer to an otaku than some other word that I don't know. Whatever I am, Dragon Ball Z, right? It influenced all of that. So I'm grateful for that. But it's just like, I don't know him personally. And just the way I am personally, I saved that emotional energy for something
that hits home. I can tell you right now, there have been family members who have gone to the next stage of whatever, that becomes. And I've just been like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then I move on with my day, right? But for his family, I can imagine that's something different. That's something very much that's personal, whatever. But you're right. Like me, again, I did that with Heath Ledger. And I did it with a musician or two, but it had nothing to do with anything. When Aaliyah passed, that hit hard.
Yes.
Not because, well, one, she had great music, but two, because I realized, oh my God, that's a person that was my age at the time, and I'm like, that's got to be harsh. So that hit me closer than anything. Say like when Stan Lee passed, even though Stan Lee to me,
another legend,
right, another legend, but I didn't feel that connection. Because I looked at him and I was like, you've lived a great long life. I don't think he was, how old was he?
68.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not that he had a short life, and I think he still passed young, but he had the opportunity to do a lot. And I think if you can do a lot and have that presented, I think it's good. I think it's respectful, but I don't think it's heartless of anyone to be like, oh my God, why are you looking at what's going to happen? And it's like, because I do respect the guy, like what's going to happen to his greatest work.
Right. And then I think it's also a situation where if I were the family, like I would appreciate people feeling a certain way. Right. But also, it's like a lot of people out here acting like they knew him.
Yeah.
So if I were the family, I kind of, and which is probably why they had
It was
the
what they
private,
did.
right?
Mhm.
So it's I feel like it's almost a level of disrespect when you come out here talking about a person as if you knew them.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of more disrespectful to the family than anything. Then I think it's also disingenuous because again, if you are sad, and I'm not saying 100%.
Yeah.
Some people could just be in their feelings. But if you are super sad about this, are you really sad that a person passed away? Or are you sad that you might no longer get the entertainment that you've been getting from this person?
Or are you sad just to grab attention?
Yeah, or the intention thing. So I'm thinking more likely what's really happening is you're sad that you're no longer going to be able to experience the entertainment and things that this person, and I say entertainment just because it could be a actor, it could be a musician, it could be a whatever. So the real connection you have is absorbing their form of art, and you will no longer be able to do that to a certain extent. Is that why you're really sad? Yeah. Then just say that.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture. I think there's just a mixture of how people react to things. Because some people they're probably just think very highly of him because they love Dragon Ball Z so much. They're like, man, this guy, like he's a genius. And it could be some people are just like, that's so sad that he's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he wasn't young, wasn't old though. I mean, it's
not
like,
for death. He was not old.
Yeah, it's like it's just that. About the only people I cannot stand are those that are crying over the fact so that people can focus on them, and that's the one that gets me the most. Like, don't be a douche.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't about you. It's not about your time or whatever. I'd rather you do the crap. What's going to happen to the series? Is that going to continue? I'll tell you right now, that really bothers me with not Mayor of Kingstown, but Tulsa King. I'm like, Sylvester's getting up there. Like, man, I hope nothing happens to him. When that whole accident happened with Jeremy Renner, that was my first thing. I was like, man, they got the next season of Kingstown coming. Is he going to do this? He's not like. And again, it's not
like when we watch Picard. It was just like,
is he going to make it?
Right.
Yeah.
I would hate for it to end early or prematurely because something happened to him.
100%.
And again, it sounds heartless because it should be more about, I hope nothing happens to him. But no, it's more about, I hope nothing happens to him because I want to get more Star Trek.
Yeah.
So again, that goes back to the quote. It's a direct quote from Goku. I know it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
This conversation we're having.
Yeah.
But please grant me my selfish request. And the selfish request is I want more Dragon Ball. I would never want Dragon Ball to ever end.
Yeah.
You see what if I had it my way. The stuff that I like, right? MCU stuff, that's whatever, anime related movies, DC movies.
Yeah.
I want it to keep going for forever. I would never want it to stop because I remember a time when it did not exist.
Can I do the segue? Can I do a segue?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do a segue. Even when they're bad, horrible movies, I still want to see those being pumped out because I want to see it exist. I'm with you on that.
Well, you've said that. You've said that about
DC.
Yeah, he's like, I want it to succeed. Like, I sound like I'm bashing it, but I want it to succeed. I want to see good stuff. I want it to continue.
I don't want it to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to be able to keep going. Now, if they somehow were to create something bad, but somehow it was still successful and sustainable, fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's the case. Yeah. So that's why I'm so hard. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm hard on DC. I'm like, get y'all shit together. Yep. Because I want it to continue. So it's the same thing here. So that is my selfish request.
I don't think he can get his shit together. That might be a heartless take.
Yeah.
But
I do wonder what happened. It said he had a subdural hematoma or something, which I was reading about, that most of those happened from a hard fall or an accident or something hitting your head.
Isn't that what happened to Bob Saget?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't even think he got out of bed. He rolled over.
But he hit his head.
Hit his head on the thing. Yep. Now, there are other things that cause it, but that the vast majority I read is a hit, like you hit your head. Can I tell you, the older we get, the more scared I am as a person.
No, like, it is crazy.
Seriously, with my back, like I was like, this is crazy. I should not be having to use a cane.
Yeah.
because I'm thinking this is just something small, and it wasn't. So I can't imagine something like this and how it would affect it, because it's definitely sudden, it's unexpected.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part that people have trouble with, is when it is an instant, not expected trauma or event. That's what they got to get past. And sometimes it's hard, right? And I do respect those who, if it has hit them, because this is how they've lived their life based off of this influence, then I think it is okay for those individuals to be sad, maybe even shed a tear or two. Like, I'm not going to fault you for that, you know? Just be genuine about it.
Right.
I guess that's my thing. Is just be genuine about it.
Yep. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're being genuine.
This is, I don't have any other way to process this or no other feelings about it outside of what I just said.
Yep.
So again, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, sucks, and it definitely sucks for the family.
Yep.
But when you got people like Stephen A. Smith using this for clicks.
Yep. You saw that?
Did you see the clip?
I don't like Stephen A. Smith.
No.
But
Yeah,
I've
don't
seen
like him
part.
either.
I saw the first
So
10 seconds of it, and I'm scrolling past it. I don't even want to see
So
it.
he's talking about this man like he knows anything about Dragon Ball Z, or like as if he knew him.
Yeah.
But then when it came time for the question, who are you picking in a fight, Goku or Vegeta? He didn't even pronounce Vegeta's name correctly.
No.
So it's just like, come on, bro. Anyway, y'all ready for round 3?
Yep.
Round 3.
Madam Web review. Something new we've been doing recently. We're going to try to do the first 10 minutes of this spoiler free. So is there anything spoiler free-ish that you wanted to start off, or should I just start throwing out random things?
It's discombobulated, this
Okay.
movie. That's what I'll say.
It's all over the place.
Not even...
It almost seems like it's supposed to be based off of, if you know anything about the movie and what it's trying to be. It almost you almost think it would be all over the place, but no, this is just all over the place, objectively speaking, as far as how you make a movie,
and not in a good way.
No.
I will actually quote my son here.
Okay.
It's the first time Xander's ever stepped out of a theater,
and cussed.
And he looked at me and he goes, "I'm not even kidding. I think that movie was made to show other movies what not to do."
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him and I said, "So you didn't enjoy it?" He goes, "I did not care for that movie one bit." And this is a 13-year-old who, seeing girls purportedly close to his age shouldn't have been a downer for a 13-year-old boy, and he came out of this just absolutely
to be fair to him in that standpoint, they didn't really give him much to look at.
True.
I thought there would be more for him to look at. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, and it wasn't. So maybe if there was more, and I'm not advocating for this, but sometimes it is a necessary thing.
Yeah, if you're making a particular type of movie,
then put it in there.
Yeah,
right.
Go ahead.
Like Aquaman, same crap. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just if
vice versa or whatever. Reverse.
Like if you want to get the women viewer in here, you can get a commercial with his shirt off, and then out here they come, right? And then that's a lot of what happened with the first Aquaman. So just give Xander what he wants.
The best thing I can say about this movie, I'll say two things.
Oh, two good things?
Two good things.
You said best thing.
Best thing.
That means it's
thing.
good.
Best thing.
Best. Okay.
Appreciated the costume takes. They held close to their comic book counterparts, except for Madam Web. And the trailer was good. Trailer had nothing to do with this movie. I like the trailer.
What trailer?
There was a 30-second trailer at some point or another. That's it. That's all I can say.
For the movie.
For the movie.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
not in this. Not in the actual movie. The trailer did its job in pulling the best it could from the material it had to make a trailer for this movie. That's all I
read most of that was not even in the movie. I don't know. I didn't go back and check. But
it made...
Well, there's so many trailers. Y'all might not be talking about the same trailer.
Okay, that's true.
Not only that, but what I will say is this. I read that quote as well. It's not, but the trailer led you to believe that this was about something completely other than what this movie was about.
Yeah. They did the V for Vendetta If you go back and actually look at V for Vendetta, the trailer, and then you look at the actual movie,
Nothing alike.
Nothing alike. I mean, V for Vendetta was like a political, blah, blah, blah. It was real kind of slow, kind of boring to me. All of the action scenes from V for Vendetta were in the trailer. Every single one of them.
Much like Madam Web.
Yeah. The only decent thing I can say about it is like the graphics when she was using her powers. A couple of times were like not awful. You see what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like awful. Great, but like generally speaking, this movie didn't have good graphics, but there wasn't a whole lot of CGI in it.
It was a lot of practical
to begin with. So the couple of times where she would kind of randomly do her powers and it didn't even really make sense what was going on. It was like, okay, that looked nice. Like, okay, like that was I borderline cool, but it was like, okay, that wasn't awful. Like I from watching the movie up to those points, I was expecting those parts to be bad. Like whenever they did get to some CGI,
I'm like what had led to it. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm expecting bad CGI here, and I was just like, oh, okay, that wasn't like horrible.
Yeah,
I will say, I don't think this is a spoiler. It was not. It was not. It was not good story.
No,
it was not good acting. It was not. There was not a good flow.
The acting was horrible. So I am not one of these people that automatically blame bad acting on bad writing. Mm-hmm. But this also had bad writing.
Yep.
Right. But there was also bad acting. By pretty much everybody in the movie.
Yeah.
Every single person.
I will say this. I think one exception.
Okay.
The character who played Uncle Ben. You could tell he was trying to do something. It's just unfortunately he didn't have anything to work with.
Maybe, but yeah.
It's a push. I will be the first one to sit there and say that's a push of that comment, but of all of them, he looked to be the one that was trying his best.
He did the best job.
Yeah.
But no one did a great job. Yeah. No one did a good job.
It's not a high bar.
No.
Not at all.
Another thing I didn't like, I will call it cinematography. I don't know if that's the right word, but I in the beginning, especially when the movie started, I was like, first of all, I was getting dizzy immediately. Yep. I had to close my eyes because I was like, ugh. And it was just like, this feels like the great value.
Whoa, snaps.
Just the quality of the opening. I was just like, what are they doing? This feels cheap. It just feels cheap.
Cheap and cheesy.
Yeah, the way that they were kind of making everything look and like the angles at which the cameras were coming in at. And I was just like, this is not...
I feel like you get better stuff from those ER type Chicago Fire type shows.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. They did that when there was certain things going on and there was like chaos. Mm-hmm. They did that, and I thought that was fine. But the very opening scene,
I know what you're talking about.
I was like, this is not going to be good. I could tell from the opening scene. I was like, this.
Well, I could tell from the trailers this was something.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. I was like, this feels cheap right off the bat.
I did not have a plan to see this movie. It was strictly because my son and his friend wanted to go see something, and I was like, well, let's go. And I completely had forgotten that Argyle was out. Otherwise, I would have took him to go see that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I guess let's go watch, Madam Web and see what that's about. And like we all regretted it.
I will say this. Okay. I will say that y'all are probably not going to agree with me. No, I don't think Dakota Johnson did great on acting, but there is something. The reason I made my comment earlier about why I disagree with her saying she doesn't belong here is because even though we didn't see her best, there's something about her that I like. Like I would see her in something else, and I think that if she had
Hoops and Chains?
No, but if she had either a better writer, better director, something that could get more out of her. Now, and here's the other thing. I did not see Shades of Grey, so I don't know how good she can be with acting. I'm just saying there's something about her that I like.
I mean, I don't think anybody's watching 50 Shades of Grey for her acting, right? I don't think anybody.
I watched it for the articles. Thank you very much.
Right. I don't think anybody's watching anything she's in for the acting. So
I don't even know what else she's been in.
that's my point.
Well, and there you go.
That's the point.
I'm just saying
So-
I'm not writing her off immediately.
Well, she wrote herself off, so
No, I
you
know, but I'm just saying.
But so my thing with the story is, I think from the 50,000-foot view, like the overall story was like it's fine. And
How they executed it,
they
though.
executed it very poorly. It was just horribly executed. So
have we done
like
our 10 minutes?
like the
Are we done? Can we talk spoilers now? Are we past our 10 minutes?
We got 2 more minutes, guys.
2 more minutes. Okay.
So it's just like the general story was fine. The actual story was just not. They were, like you said, they were kind of all over the place. There were a bunch of scenes in there that just didn't make sense.
Didn't make any sense.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And I guess we've been lucky so far that outside of, like, to use Mike B's word, lore, outside of the comic book lore,
which was absolutely shit on in this movie, but go ahead.
Our MCU movies and stuff that we kind of value as the better movies, we don't have a lot of these scenes that just absolutely make no sense. Outside of, like, this is not what happened in the comic book. That's fine. But just if you're just watching a movie, it's just like, okay, they explain this makes sense. This okay, fine. Here it was just like some of these things make no sense.
My thing with this, okay, look, let's be realistic, right? And I've said this about Venom and Venom 2. These are not fantastic movies at all.
No.
But Tom Hardy loves it, and you can tell it, and he's not acting, he's literally into that role, and that's what makes those movies fun for me. Not great, right? I'm not talking about that, but it makes it fun for me to watch. DC has a couple of those movies. I'm not going to sit there and deny it. We've talked about it before. And Marvel's had a couple of those movies. But when no one looks like they want to be there, when it's a first-time director and it's this hard of a strike and a miss, it is just hard to ignore the issues
It's so
that
bad.
come with this movie. And I don't... To me, this movie was so bad, I went back and watched some other horrible movies that I thought. I rewatched Morbius because I was like, this has got to be just me. This isn't this bad. This has got to be something I'm missing. No, I was like, oh my God, I even like Morbius a little bit more now because of this movie. Hell, I like The Flash a little bit more now because of this movie.
Flash is
good.
way better than this movie.
So-
but we're at the 10-minute mark, so we can go ahead with spoilers if you want this point to roll into something that might spoil something.
Wait, I have a question real quick.
Okay.
What was up with Pepsi? Y'all see, Pepsi made 2 appearances in this movie.
I think Pepsi funded this movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what that
seriously.
was about. And I don't think they got their money's worth. I think that was a bad executive decision right there.
So let's talk about these other Spider Girls and Spider Women. So first off, I'm where we at?
Spoiler alert.
Nobody had any goddamn powers in this movie.
No.
This was not a superhero movie.
And let me stress, the trailer where you saw them all in their Spider-Girl,
Yes.
that was it. That's it.
There was
That is
no
it.
more.
If you're a comic book fan, the way they dealt with Ezekiel was complete trash. And this is from one of the best, his character is from one of the best runs in the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man specifically by Straczynski. And his backstory was fantastic. And they just, none of that mattered. None of it mattered in this movie. To give him a Spider-Man-like costume when there's not been a movie, with the exception of the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, both 1 and 2, that has no other Spider-Man existing, and they're trying to kick this off, and then to put him in a Spider-Man outfit, but then nobody remembers this guy when real Spider-Man show up, no matter which timeline you're trying to be in.
Well, but even back in the 60s or 70s or whenever she was in the jungle, her mom, when all this kicked off, even those characters, even those people had Spider-Man like costumes, which I thought was just like,
yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, I don't know the history, I don't know the comic book version of these events, but I thought that was very weird. It might not. Okay, let me take that back. It might not have been weird that they had the costume on. It would be weird to me that Peter Parker who knows nothing about these people would have then created a suit that looked very similar. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
To
And
these people in a jungle in Peru or whatever, wherever it was at.
Comes from the bad execution of how they used Ezekiel. The whole point of Ezekiel in the comic book was they introduced the theory of totems. And saying each animal has a totem, and there are certain people that are chosen in their generation to represent, right? And I'm trying to do this as broad brace as I can. I'm not trying to turn this into a Buffy the Slayer, Vampire Slayer, or anything else like that. But the totems were representative. And so the reason he sought out Parker wasn't to do what he was doing in this movie, which was kill everyone. He was searching him out because he was like, I am trying to offer you a way to survive what's coming next. He goes, and basically it's this creature who looks like a man, but he goes around feeding off the power of those that belong to the totem. And so the whole point of that was trying to say, like, well, he's Spider-Man, so of course he's part of the totem. He's accidental Spider-Man because in the comic books, it wasn't genetic engineering or tampering. It wasn't a super spider. It was the radioactiveness of his blood plus the spiders what gave him his powers.
Yeah, it was more of a man-made mutation versus an ancient power.
Right. So he was never considered a pure totem, and that's how they eventually discover how to beat this villain. But Ezekiel was never meant to be. He was not going to seek out 16-year-old teenagers and kill them so they didn't kill him first.
Well, and to a certain extent, outside of what happened with the mom.
Yeah.
If you just look at if you take out the jungle scenes and just look at the present day, I don't know necessarily that he was a bad guy.
He was scared for his life, and he thought this was the only way he could
he
solve
was having
it.
these visions that these girls were going to murder him. So he was like, F that, I'm going to go out and find him first and take care of him.
Also not really part of his powers.
Now, I think that
visions and stuff?
No.
That might have been the only part of the story that I actually liked was the fact that you had these visions of them killing you, but it all had to do with the fact that you were preemptively trying to go out and kill them. Yeah. So you were basically you were creating your own death. You created your own death because of your time and blah blah blah. How all this all. So it's inevitable that these girls will kill you. Yeah. But you think it's just because they're going to kill you, but really you're creating your own death. That's the only thing that I liked about this.
The Terminator theory timeline, basically. You're always meant to do this. They were always meant to do that type thing.
Yeah. Steiner's Gate. No matter what happens, old girl is going to die.
Yeah.
Right. Spoilers.
You throw a stone into a river. There's always a pattern. It may change, but it'll eventually go back into the normal flow or stream of thing, or in this case, time. I really want to say how I would redo this movie, but I don't either, because what would it matter? It's not going to matter. It's not going to change anything. Bless you. It was
Dakota coming at me.
I know. No, she wouldn't come after you for calling her movie crap. She would say it herself.
No, she coming after me like, hey, yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
You want an autograph?
I can give you 6 words.
You got some handcuffs?
The 7th word.
Right. I'll autograph some handcuffs for you.
Hey, you can give me those socks on? This movie was trash. It was just, there's nothing redeeming about it. I don't want to watch this again. I'm not kidding when I say we watched some other movies that I thought I might have been too harsh on.
What about the part where she left the girls multiple times? She just left these girls alone because the guy was trying to kill her. Somehow she can see into the future, so she was like saving these girls, right? So time after time after time, you kept leaving these girls alone to just fend for themselves, or leaving them with the Parks and Rec guy, right? Or
Adam Scott, I do love him.
And then just like, oh, well, you need to go to Peru,
right? Oh my God! And how did she know where to go? You're in the middle of a jungle.
And my thing is, all this advanced technologies that the guy seems to have with his assistant villain girl, whatever she was doing. How did you get on this plane without it sending off signals to her big supercomputer? Airport security, credit card, something.
Yep.
Like how did you just like, oh, I'm going to Peru all of a sudden, pack my bags, y'all, you take care of these girls.
She is the least caring about humanity EMT I have ever seen put on film. As a response worker, shouldn't you have a little bit of like, I probably should do more than just leaving these girls in the woods where I have no idea where we're at.
Or at a random motel, not even like a nice hotel, a motel with one chain, keeping them safe from the evil guy.
I'm sure they won't be sex trafficked at all if someone goes in there. Like the lack of common sense in this movie was surprising.
I think the two most annoying parts were, yes, when she just randomly goes to Peru.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to go. And you just end up in the middle of this jungle. Like, how in the world did you even know exactly where to go?
Well, she had the book. This little book that obviously led everywhere. I mean, she had the little map drawn. And
then somehow you get back right in time for all this other chaos to ensue.
Well, and then when you get back, how many times did she like hit old boy with a car, some sort of vehicle? The
3?
And then the last time when she hit him with the ambulance, what exactly did she drive off of? She just drove off of something and just flew right into him with the ambulance. I'm like, you were on a street, and now you bust through a building.
I believe it was a MacGuffin she drove over because
I was just like, what is going on? But yeah, the part with the you have to go to Peru. And then like I was like, no way, right? And then very next scene, jungle, forest, she's in Peru.
It'd be different if she was going to like the main capital in Peru. Like you flew into the and she. Yeah. Okay, you're here. I can't even think what Lisbon. What's Peru? What I don't know what's in Peru.
I don't know.
But anyway, no,
Peruvians?
not just like this airport of the country. You're in literally the middle of a jungle.
Mm-hmm. Where there's nobody lives there,
right?
Except for these.
But immediately the one guy that goes, "I know who you are."
Right?
How?
I
don't even know who she is.
Ridiculous. It was just like,
So I don't know what to do with the girls because, and I don't know all the ages of all these girls in real life, but I don't know if it would have been better to get real teenage girls to play these parts. Generally speaking, I don't like kid actors.
Mm-hmm.
Even to a certain extent, even teenagers. Like I just don't like them, right? But this some grown people trying to act like high school girls, it just they didn't pull it off at all.
Oh, and a quick upskirt shot of one of them as they're coming out of the subway. I'm like, if these are supposed to be 16-year-olds, you know what you shouldn't be doing?
Right.
Like, don't do that. Don't be a pervert.
I didn't even realize one of them was Sydney Sweeney, which I don't know who Sydney Sweeney. Like I know who she is, but I don't know anything about her. I just feel like I've been seeing her more and more. But I don't know. It was just awful. Everything was bad.
Yeah, I didn't know who she was either. She was trending that week this came out. I was like, oh, this is good. Because she was the one I think that said she thought she was in the MCU, and everyone just went like, "No, you're not." Well, she was trending because she was on the hot ones. We eat the hot wings, right? And then whatever her reaction is got her trending. Cool. Omar Epps.
I forgot he was. I mean, he looks old.
He is older.
Oh, I know, but he looked.
But he was in this movie, and I didn't know he was in this movie during this same time period.
For 3 minutes.
During the same time period, he was beefing with Shannon Sharp. Because of some stuff that was said on the podcast with Cat Williams versus, and he got on stage and he did some and made fun of Shannon Sharp and blah, blah, blah. So they was beefing to the point where it's like, I'm going to pull up and see you. So this was like trending, right? They squashed it and it's fine. But
Omar Epps? You mean
Mike Epps?
Mike Epps. Yeah. He was with the friend group at the party.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
3 minutes.
So all this is happening with you and Shannon Sharp. And at no point did you even think to mention that you were in this movie. I didn't know you were in this movie.
So you didn't recognize him in the movie?
It took me a bit.
I didn't know he was in the movie.
Ahead of time.
Right.
Oh, I got you.
Right. So
he wasn't in the movie.
Well, but you were, right? You were in this movie and you're making major headlines because you're beefing with like the top podcaster right now.
Why not
just at least throw it out there? And no, he never even mentioned that he was in this movie.
Which makes me think it's probably not fake then, because if it was fake beef, I feel like he would have thrown that in there.
Or he thought the movie was bad too.
Oh yeah, true. He didn't want to be associated with it.
Or he wasn't in the movie. He even knew he wasn't in the movie long enough to sit there and say, "I'm in this new movie."
Oh yeah, I
coming
did
out.
do that.
Yeah. What movie? Oh yeah, I guess so.
So it was just been perfect timing. Yeah, go see me in the movie, right? But no,
he was on that set for what had to be only 30 minutes.
Yeah. One other major thing that I had a problem with, and I'm not going to pretend to know contracts and who owns what and who can say what and who what right whatever. The fact that you were saying that I met May, but you never said her name. The fact that there was a baby born, your nephew, and you kept playing with the name but never said it. I had an issue with that. I felt like the movie would have been better. It would not have made it a good movie, but at least those scenes would have been better if you just said Peter and May.
Yeah.
Just say it. I don't know what that was about. I have no idea what that was
because
about. That was the strangest thing I've ever seen.
I will tell you that the timeline that's given in this movie, which they give you, was it 2002 or something like that?
2003 maybe?
They definitely wanted to make this the parents of Tom Holland. It's Peter Parker. And you could tell that Marvel proper, Kevin Feige, was like, yeah, I've seen this. You're not doing that. Take that shit out.
So
we don't want any part of it.
So there's some Dark Phoenix stuff going on here.
That's what it felt like. But Sony can get away with a lot of it though, just because, well, they still own the character.
You still own it.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
When people ask, why do they put this type of movie out, or why do they keep doing this every few years where they put out a Spider-Man character? Because they don't want to lose the rights. They skip 3 years and they suddenly lose the rights to the character and they revert back to, well, Disney now. And they don't want to do that. They want to keep that cash cow going as long as they can. It's just some of them you're going to have a Madam Web, and some of them you're going to have something.
So let me put a PSA out there for people.
Boom, boom, boom.
If you're bashing a movie that is not objectively bad for some other reason, and I know I keep bringing it up, and people probably tired of me saying it, but if you just don't like gay people and it has a gay person as the lead, so you're bashing the movie, even though it might be a good movie, just because of that, and if you're a comic book fan, you need to stop. And the reason why is this right here. If Far From Home had not been successful for one of these weird off-topic reasons, and you bash the movie and then nobody goes to see it, if it would have been unsuccessful, there would have been no more Spider-Man MCU. Sony was threatening to take back the rights of Spider-Man to where MCU could not use it anymore and start making the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies themselves if that movie specifically was not successful. Now what you get after that is this bullshit. But with Tom Holland and Zendaya and that cast, so y'all, I really just feel like people kind of playing with fire. Leave well enough alone. You might not agree with some of the life choices, whatever. Yeah. But if it's not a bad movie, stop saying it is. Yeah. Because again, I'm coming at this from a point where I want these things to continue. And
I went back and respected the Eternals after this movie. I'm not kidding.
The Eternals was not a bad movie.
I'm not kidding.
I'll say it over and over and over.
I've told you my issue with the Eternals. I really do think that should have been the first Disney Plus Marvel show. And I think
the way the movie was shot, though, it would have been a good TV show.
Fantastic.
It would have been a dope TV show.
Give me 2 hours on Angelina Jolie's character and who's the Asian actor that was with her. Give me an hour and a half of just them two, because that was a really interesting story.
The guy
that was taking care of her. I was like, give me an hour and a half, 2 hours even of that in a show in that format,
or just keep showing where they either interfered or didn't interfere with major
100%,
which we still could get.
Yeah,
we can still get something like that. But objectively, to me as a movie, like, it wasn't bad. Like, this is bad.
No. There are so many good aspects of Eternals that you could take from cinematography. The acting was great.
Just the cinematography alone is worth the price of admission, and is better than this movie. Yeah, the whole movie. I just had a hard time with some of the stuff, but we've talked about this. I just had a hard time with, but this was just horrible. This was just a really bad movie. This is exactly what we don't want to see in the genre at all.
The other thing that I just was like rolling my eyes at is how she randomly decides to teach them how to do CPR in the motel room.
Motel.
Which don't get me wrong, everybody should know CPR, okay?
Yeah.
But it was super random. Okay, I'm going to teach y'all how to do it, all three together, in sync or whatever. And look how that came into play at the very, at the
Worst
end.
foreshadowing in a movie I've ever seen.
Well, my problem with that particular scene was, one, it was a little corny. And two, for some reason, that is what got the teenagers' respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
Not the fact that I've been keeping you alive this whole time. Not the fact that, like, I told you and proved to you, like, somebody's trying to kill you and everything I've said so far has come, to light. No, it's the fact that I know how to do CPR and, like,
Now you're cool.
And now you're a cool lady.
Well, I mean, teenagers are like that.
I don't know, with CPR.
Well, no.
Not with
CPR.
As a teenager, I think if someone saved your life 2 times before getting into that, I would be like, what else can I do?
No, save your life by running the person over with a car.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's like, all right, you cool.
Yeah, right.
But
all right, I'll listen to you.
But
Okay, this is
CPR
real
lessons.
now.
But CPR lessons.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna get the respect of the teenage girls.
Everything about it was just so weird. It was random, and everything like shifted after that, and then that is exactly how they end up saving her in the end. It was just like,
and then speaking of the end,
Spoiler alert.
obviously she's going to kind of hone in on her powers more. That now she knows more about her powers and where it came from. Now that she's blind, which they didn't do any kind of justice, or
nope.
You if you blinked, you would not have known what the hell was going on. But now that she's
it was underwater.
Yeah. So now that she's blind, she's going to hone in her powers. It's going to be right. Okay, cool. But again, the fact that this was a whole movie where most of the people in the movie did not have powers. You sold it as like a superhero Spider Woman girl Spider Universe movie, and nobody had any powers. No one were in the suits. I mean, a lot of the comic book movies, a lot of the conversation, at least before, during, or after the movie, is about the suits. We didn't see any suits. I feel like we saw more business suits than we did spider suits.
I'll be honest, when we did see the 5 or 15 seconds of the suits,
Look cool.
they were pretty good, pretty comic accurate. Like, I was happy with them.
They look dope.
Had nothing to do with the damn movie.
And so it made me also wonder about the one Sweeney interview that I did see, or article or whatever. She said that she specifically wanted the visual of her hanging upside down.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh snap, like cool. Now I'm excited to see all the Spider Girls do their thing. Just to be like, nope, that was the scene.
You saw more there than in the movie. And I'm not kidding about that. You saw more of the background of her hanging from the ceiling in that manner than what was shown in the actual film. Yeah.
So, okay, off the top of the dome, what's the score?
2.
Damn.
Probably say 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 4. Like, and that's real low for me.
That's actually the lowest I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
And that's including DC.
That's
Yeah.
lower than you gave Aquaman.
Yeah,
too.
because you got to, another thing too, and it's not that it's Madam Web's producing fault, but at a certain point though, like Aquaman, for example, even though I think some of the graphics look weird, it was still better graphics than this. So just generally speaking, like you have a leg up because
The quality.
you got better quality things and visual effects going on than what was going on in here. This is old school police chasing and ambulance saving people and shit like that.
This movie couldn't hit a CW DC show. And that's saying something.
Right.
That is saying something.
Would you recommend this to the average Joe?
No.
Average Joe?
Nope.
No. Would you recommend this to
Hell
a
no.
comic book fan?
Hell no.
No. And I never say no.
No?
And I'm saying no on this one.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. This wasn't so bad that I was like, I'm about to walk out of here. It was sittable, however word you want to use that. Like I could sit through it,
Right.
but I was ready. I was like, okay.
It was I've never really had this sensation with this movie that I've had in other movies. It's like the potential was there, and there were certain things like, okay, we're kind of going in this direction, and then like at certain parts it seemed like it was a horror movie. And it was like, okay, we're going to do horror thriller with this guy showing up the whole time. No, kind of like Jason chasing you, right?
Yep.
Not your Jason, but either
Well,
way, it's
either
kind of kind of scary.
I think it would still be about the same walk.
So are we doing Freddy Krueger Jason kind of thing with this? Okay, that'd be cool. Oh, she's on a supercomputer. Is this going to be a
techno or tech, whatever,
spy kind of? Okay, so at every point, and then it's like, okay, I'm getting my powers now. Is this going to be a superhero movie? Every point there seemed to be.
We're almost there. We're almost to something.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, and then it just never got there, and then it kind of ended, and so I'm like, okay,
100% the result of 6 writers on the script and a first-time director.
Yeah.
It's
I think the reason I would say I would not recommend this is because this is also kind of to me, like a not isolated movie, but I guess because it's the first one. I don't know. I'm just like, even if you were like hardcore, I'd be like, nah, you can skip this one. You're not gonna.
This is going to be one that if they actually do something with these characters, if they put together some kind of Sony Spider-Verse, you might have to come back and watch 5 years from now, because this is their origin story. They may not do a Spider-Woman origin story. Mm-hmm. This is going to be all of their origin stories. If they use any of these people ever again for anything.
But of the 3 Spider-Women that will be, there was no real origin story there either for how they became their characters.
But for her...
Well,
for Madam Web, maybe, but I like the Spider. They just showed them, and all they kept hinting was like, one day you'll have responsibilities. Yeah. One day you'll be more than what you are right now because you've got that potential. But they never showed how those instants.
I just assumed that they were all going to get bit by the fancy jungle spider, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's not a. It's the best theory in that movie. Yeah,
and to end it off here, I wish I knew the exact quote, but they didn't even do great responsibilities. They did it backwards, and I was like, why?
He said, he goes, you have great power, and once you realize your power, you will have great responsibility.
I thought he said
it might have been the reverse. I don't even know, man. It was horrible.
I thought it was like, you have great responsibilities because you found great power.
Yeah,
or something. And it was just like
the bottom line is it's the first movie in a long time where I was trying to stay awake.
Yeah,
I will say that. And I don't sleep during movies. I have to watch them even if they're bad. But this was just like, I'm like, what's going on? What?
Yeah.
All right, this was a long one, but there's been longer ones. Pause. Y'all ready for the wrap up?
Yeah, we ended up talking about that a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, for how bad it was.
Because we all felt the same exact way.
The same exact way. Bad movie. Anyway, here we are. We made it to the end.
All right.
I was gonna say I ate the other part of that, and I didn't taste as good as the first time.
No.
You see that, like, the apple was like in that one piece, right?
Yeah. Or something.
The rest of it just tastes like chocolate.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway.
All right, that's it for this week's update. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release new episodes. See you next week.
Web sling.
No.
No.
All right.